Hello and welcome back to week 15. I know you'll probably put your little tail. Kitsune has decided she needs lap time. But anyway, as you notice, I had 2 weeks where I had nothing. I already said just me off the July 4th weekend. And then I had last week where I was exhausted. And then last week's kind of ended up being posted on Friday evening because that's when I could finally edit it and get it up. She's got sharp claws. She's got little knives. So anyway, welcome to week 15. This is going to cover July 17th to July... Oh no, that's the end. July 11th to July 17th, basically. So yeah, welcome to P.A.W.S. This is the progress and weekly stats. This is where we celebrate the wins, the chaos, and at least one questionable decision. Consistency is a myth, cat logic is real, and progress still counts even when it's messy. So anyway, biggest thing I want to do today, well not the biggest thing, but first thing I want to do today is just kind of give a nice little shout out to my computer that has been doing all this editing. We have named her ComaToast because she likes to freeze, she likes to do all that stuff. It's a old computer, and she's okay, so this is technically more of a yesterday, not last week thing, because I was fighting with it constantly, like restarting it. But she's earned her mention. So basically, whenever I do these edits and stuff like that, I am running on an old gaming tower from 2018. And she's officially reached that point of, please release me from this mortal coil stage of life. Yeah, no, she's a computer. I keep saying she. You know, it's not a sentient being. No, I don't think that. You're fine. But I am fairly positive, and I swear that she's possessed by some old, tired soul that's like, this is purgatory, please let me rest. And I'm over here going, sorry, sweetie, but you haven't redeemed your soul yet. And I'm being nice to it, just in case, because, you know, I'm fairly positive that it might be the soul of some serial killer who's decided to haunt me. And currently, it's, like, at least stuck in there. Like, you know, if y'all seen Good Omens, the part where Crawley gets the other demon trapped in the phone line, I think that's what's happened with my computer. So when it finally gets released, it gets released, and I made it mad. And next thing you know, my walls are bleeding, and I got red rum across it or something like that. I have an imagination, I know. But, you know, be nice to your things. You never know what gets stuck in there, basically, and it might get you later. So, yeah. So, I mean, that would make sense as to why my cat keeps meowing at me. You know, there's a ghost over there, and she's trying to tell me you need to get away from that. So, just saying. Feel bad for ComaToast, okay? So, yeah. Anyway, she's tired. She's lagging. She's haunted. She's somehow holding down the line to get these videos done. But yeah, that's my shout out to my poor computer. Moving on. Last week, a lot happened. Not a lot, per se, but stuff to count. A lot of stuff that counted happened. So as we said yesterday, now yesterday is when I made this script, technically, so this is Friday evening. I got the week 13 and 14 video, I got it edited, I got it posted. I had recorded it the last Saturday, and my body just immediately went in, no, we're done, we're done. We're not doing no more. And so I was watching it while I was editing it, and I was like, oh yeah, I was checked out. Like, there was 0 brain cells, full exhaustion. But hey, we said we'd be real on this channel, right? And that was me running on fumes, body quitting for 3 days straight last week. Well, actually quit most of the week, but those were the 3 most brutal. Was actually the weekend, believe it or not. So yeah, that 13 and 14, yeah, that video was just, I didn't make a script for it, I just sat there and talked, and y'all got to meet my Scatterbrain. There's a reason I have like a little scripty thing I don't like fully. That's the reason. Now you get to know. So yeah. So I got lucky, and some of the energy has come back throughout this week. So yay. And at least the pictures I had made for that 2-week video that I made with Kalico, they didn't go to waste. Those cute little pics. So I was quite happy. And like I said, y'all got to see me unscripted. My brain wandering into random chaos. Yeah. And y'all thought I was bad with a script. So, better late than never. Got it done. Got it posted. So, just to let you know though, if you did watch that video and it made any sense, all my ramblings and stuff like that, I'm going to give you some kudos, because I think that the only reason it makes sense to me sometimes is because I get to live in my own scatterbrain, and for everyone else, you just kind of deserve a medal at that point. Yeah. Shoot. So, I'm excited to get back this week, so I'm just talking about a lot of things, I know. So as next, I know I have been talking a lot in the last few weeks how like I need to get back on track with my exercises. I need to, because I was just in such a not a dark place. I was in a tired place, just so tired and just so out of it, and so like everything was gone, and it took a few weeks, and so I was talking about I need to get back on track. I just need to just basically not be just spending my evenings just lounging and vegging. I'm not saying I'm lazy. I'm not saying if you do that, I'm lazy though. That's my pure thing. But, you know, just kind of doing that like a sleep gremlin. And like I've said this before, even if you've been, you got yourself on this full schedule regiment, you've been like full gung-ho for a long time. For me, it was like a year. That doesn't mean that there aren't points where you might have to step back and just kind of restart. Just burnout is real. And that's kind of, burnout is real. I didn't quite hit that because of exercise. I hit it because a lot of stuff just hit me at once. And it shut down. So last week my plan was, start out slow like I did before, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk every night. Maybe it's one time around the building, maybe it's my full, almost an hour. Usually it's about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to do that. Did I do it? Yes, I did. Well, when I say every night, it's always the weekdays. We all know I don't do anything on the weekends. But I did every night, Monday through Friday, about 9, 10 o'clock, whatever. Went outside, I did my stairs, I did my walk, I did 45 minutes to an hour each night, and it felt so good to be moving again. It really did. Now here's the thing, did I want to do it every night? No. Like every night was just a battle with my brain going, do I have to? But I still did them. I was still glad I did them. I was happy afterwards. That's what matters. Basically, I did it for a week. And, other than what I was, maybe before at least, I was doing, like, those little 10 minutes, those little things I'm doing those little shorts on. It's like a little 10-minute exercise, like, whenever you have a chance kind of thing. I was doing those at least, but other than those, I just did the walks. I didn't do any of the other exercises that I normally do in my routine. So, that means, okay, I did that week. I did that, and so next week's going to hit, and I have a plan to keep doing that. I am hoping that I can add on to it, like add back in that I have that daily Hinge Health playlist. The thing that changes. I'm hoping to add that back. So I'm going to do that when I got off of work, still do my walks at night. And then I might also add in these ones. They were kind of newish before the whole thing. And they're just kind of like these arm and leg exercises to kind of help with the arm and the back of the leg. Like, can I jump? No. Those only take about 5 minutes altogether. So I'm like, that's what I'm going to try this week. If I at least do what I've been doing and do the walk, then cool, but I'm going to try and add that on as well. So like I said, I had to restart slow. So we're going to try and do those. It shouldn't really be a big deal for me, but my body likes to surprise me, so we'll find out. I'll let you know next week how it is. So basically, we're walking that horse of mine around the paddock. We're occasionally having a light ride from the paddock to the barn, slowly getting back on that horse so the horse doesn't send me flying again, because my horse is mean. Just saying. So we're slow but steady, and then we'll be back to trotting and stuff like that again. Yeah. So, other thing that happened last week, some of it I'm going to tell you now, just because it made me happy, and some of it you'll find out in my yarn video, so make sure you go watch that. And I do believe that is a very important one that I am actually doing. I know I say that every week, it's all important, but this is actually the one I probably should have started with, but I was still learning. I don't think I'm still learning, but yeah. So, yeah, so anyways, how this whole story starts though is that I don't know what size pants I wear anymore. Just don't. I know my shirt size now because I already had, because of just, sometimes people will give you things and not quite the straight size. So, and I'd also bought some for, I'm going to fit into this kind of thing. So I have some, this is a 2X, but I have some 1X shirts that fit nicely. So I know my shirt size. I'm a 1X. Most of them. 2X a little more comfortable. I like 3X because big and comfy, but I'm a 1X. So I already knew that. I fit into them. Yay. Now as for pants, I've kind of had the same ones forever. Currently, they're being held on by a belt, some hope, and several prayers. Yeah. A few months ago, I did buy a new pair of jeans from Torrid, but those were also slightly big even when I bought them. Why did I buy them slightly big? Because I got them in the clearance section. And good luck finding things sometimes when you want a certain size and stuff. So I liked them. They fit at least better. And listen, at the time I was shopping at Torrid on a Walmart budget. Leave me alone. Okay? I like Torrid clothes, but they are a little pricey. Anyway. So that's how this week's started. This is how this story is going to start. And, I'm feeling a little more energized this week. And I'm like, you know what? It'd be really nice to know what size I am. I'm not going to buy anything, but I'm going to go try on some jeans. Yeah. So I started at Walmart. Side note, I think something changed at Walmart. Like, I know, Walmart clothes, whatever. Walmart's never had the greatest clothes in the world, but every once in a while you find that diamond in the rough that at least it was cute, or it fit just right, or something like that. And I went in there and went basically, what's going on? Like, actually just looking at the clothes and going, I wouldn't, okay, I don't, like, something, like, changed. It was weird. Like, I don't know, like, they gotten worse. I don't know how that happened. I mean, to the point where even, like, my favorite thing to get at Walmart is pajama pants. Most of my pajama pants I wear are from Walmart because I found cute little things and I love the cute little things and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm gonna go find some PJs at least. No, there's no cute, for me, that I find cute. Like, it was just like, I don't know. It was weird. I don't know how to explain it. It was weird. So Walmart, I didn't even bother trying to try on jeans. I was just like, I don't really know what's happening, and I think I was a little weirded out by it, so it didn't quite happen that way. Though I have to admit there was something pretty cool, and I had walked by like there was like a little bitty clearance section when it came to clothes, and it had some 4th of July stuff in it. And I mean, I'll be perfectly honest, to me 4th of July stuff should be like never on clearance. I also say that about Halloween. stuff to, I mean, it's not that I don't like lower prices. I do like that they're in clearance so I can buy them. I just don't agree with them being in clearance because I just think it should be year round. I mean, come on, Halloween year round, is that too much to ask? Yeah. Anyway, but they did have a Kitsune. They did have a little clearance section, which had just a few little things, and I found this is kind of like, I guess, like a little muscle tank thingy. But, you know, I was like, cool. I mean, granted, it does have this. Well, no, still. So it doesn't matter. It's like a muscle. It's basically for my exercise. It's not something for me to go outside every day, but I was all happy, and it was $3. So that made me happy. Oh, I got stuff all over the place to show you all today in all the different videos. But anyways, so I got, yeah, not gonna spend any money. I got me a new exercise tank. It was $10. $3, excuse me, $3. So next I'm like, you know what? Now I don't shop at TJ Maxx a lot. I don't like most of their stuff. Like I said, I do go and find some exercise equipment there. I do highly recommend that. Though it's got a lot smaller than I was younger. I remember it used to be a big old wall. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It used to be a big wall of exercise stuff, and now it's like this little set, whatever. But I've never really liked TJ Maxx. Again, I could find shirts occasionally, but could never find jeans or pants. They just weren't ever in my size. But I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of smaller now. Maybe they do. Let's go to TJ Maxx. I'm just trying to find clothes to try on. They, at least in my store, went up to a size 16 only. And I do remember, I swear that they went up a little bit higher than that at least. I don't know if that's something that changed or my memory's wrong or whatever. But I was like, okay. And I just couldn't find anything bigger than that when it came to pants. I mean, I found some shirts, but them things ugly as sin, so that didn't happen. I actually got to the point where, because it's in the mall, I thought, hey, I'm just going to go to Buckle. But I had to think about that and just kind of go, you know what, that is you basically like inviting in embarrassment. Like, I go to Hot Topic all the time, yes, because I feel at home there. I don't really care, but I've never actually been in Buckle other than for a job interview when I was first looking for a job. I didn't get it, just FYI. But to me, I was like, okay, it's kind of like a more of a young person store, like a younger crowd. I don't really think they have my size. I don't know. But the whole thing is that if I go to try on jeans that just look like they're way too small for me and they end up being way too small for me, I don't really want to have to ask some little young person for the fitting rooms for this when it's more of like a, I don't know, it just seemed like one of them stores, and me, I'm just like, that's not happening. I don't think so. Anyway, so yeah, welcome to my mind and how it works. This is just, what goes through it. I did find a dress, and I tried it on. It was a 1X, and guess what? It fit, mostly. It was a little bit tight. It was kind of cute. But here's the thing with me and dresses, and I keep trying, because I want to wear a dress. But y'all, I have like this round tummy that kind of sticks out. Now, I am not a fan of it. I know some people are like, oh no, I like my tummy. I don't like my tummy. I don't. So yeah, it was like this round, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with my shirts and my skirts and my blouses a little bit longer, because I don't. And like I said, yeah, remember, this is how I look at myself. I don't like the way I look about that. If you have that and you think it's cute and you like it, and I mean, I'm not saying it isn't cute. Round and round circles, cool. I don't like it on me. This is me. I don't like it. I ain't gonna show you. I don't care if everybody else goes, oh, it's so cute. No, I don't like it, so I ain't gonna do it, okay? Simple as that. However, this whole, I'm not gonna buy anything shopping trip. Go to TJ Maxx, what do I find? And it was like the last one I couldn't find anywhere. Found a little American flag. Probably backwards on the TV. It's like a little pouchy thing for my purse. And it's like a little knitted thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. I think this was like $5. Again, on clearance because it's after the 4th, so whatever. So I found that, and I was all happy. And I found this on the way to the dressing room, and I was like, holy crap. And there was like 2 of them. One had like a white fluffy on the front, and I was like, because I can see my cats messing with it. Kitsune's like, don't drop me. But I found eyeshadow palettes with like Marie from Aristocats. And if y'all know me, right? Biggest thing when it comes to eyeshadow palettes, just make sure that nothing has been messed with. Believe me, I looked at it very closely. But this is pretty cool. I like the colors. TJ Maxx, how much? $8. So I mean, I got all excited. I found this. Hey. And something happens to my eyes, I'll let you know what happens. But this is a pretty cool little find. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take that. And the other one kind of the same colors inside, just like I said, the fluffy, not so much. So I ended up buying those, and I also buying those little shopping bags they have in the very front. Like, there actually has these cool little hard sides, and I collect shopping bags from everywhere. I have them from different grocery stores, different stores. I have some Daiso ones. I have some TJ Maxx ones. I have some from H-E-B. I have some from Big Y. I have some from Stop and Shop. I just collect them. I like the stupid little bags that cost like 50 cents to. These ones cost like $5 because of, I guess, the hard size. But it was pretty cool. Let's restart this all. Okay. Really quick before I go on the next bit, just let you know, Kitsune is all happy. She's never been able to really sit in my lap in like this kind of chair, like not when I'm not like in bed laid back, or I have one of those recliner sofas. So she can now fit in my lap, which I'm cool about, and she's all happy. So I see she's been here the whole time. So anyway, bought stuff from TJ Maxx, and then I was like, okay, that sucked. So, yep. So here I was thinking I'm not going to spend any money, and I spent money because I found 4th of July stuff, and when I actually went out on the 4th of July expecting to find all that stuff that I could actually get at the time, it wasn't there, which is the weirdest thing. So, and of course I found kitty stuff, and I love the Aristocats, so I couldn't stop myself. I got them. And it wasn't that much. Kitsune, stop, baby. So, anyway. Now, at this point, I'm like, I was so tired. I don't like to be out in the world for too long. It takes away a lot of my energy. It's just people. I don't do people. I don't know why. But it's okay. So, I was tired. But I was like, you know what? I should just give up. I give up. I can't find anything unless I have to wait until I go to one of the places that has a Torrid or something where I can just try on stuff there. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try Target. I just want to try Target for some odd reason. Why not? I mean, I've never gotten clothes there because, again, they were never in my size. She's gotten down. But I was like, you know what? Maybe I can fit into something now, because I am kind of like smaller than I have been in like 20 odd years, so yeah, it's worth the thing. Plus, you know what, if I do, that's a really, really good confidence boost, right? I have fit into something from Target. So anyways, I go in right away. When you first go into Target and they have what I like to call the gotcha aisle. It's just got a bunch of like cheaply priced things in it. What do I find in the gotcha aisle as soon as I go in? First thing I find is the little wavy flags that I had wanted so bad on the 4th of July to wave around during the fireworks. Make sure I don't put a picture of them. Basically, you see those flags in the back there. I got 2 of them. So I was like ecstatic about that. The other thing I found was, I forgot to get the magnet, but this little square magnet, this little frog. There was Halloween stuff in July. They knew I was coming, and it had a little frog and a little witchy hat, and I was like, and then I bought that. So much for me not buying stuff. They also had these, she's way back there. Alright, we'll show off these ones first. They had these cute little, they call them Adopticos jars. And so one had a little froggy. These things are like $1. Oh, does it show? Yeah, these things are literally $1 and a little raven. I thought that was cool. So yay. And then just want to show you these. I'm going to pause this. Hold on. You guys know I have stuff all over the place right now for all these videos, and I basically almost tripped and fell on my head. But anyway, here's a little frog in a hat magnet. And then little black cat. So I found that. And then I found this. I guess it's just a little itty humidifier, and you plug it into your gun thing, and her little face lights up. Do I need a humidifier where I am? No. But she's cute, so. And I was like, it lights up. I don't really have it plugged in right now because the computer's not on for her to keep going, so that's cool. So yeah. Thanks, Target. So much for me just not spending money. Now, I do want to let you know, I did find out that Target does have a bigger size section. I'd never seen that before. I mean, I never looked for it recently, but I know at least last time I went shopping there for looking at clothes, it was like it was before COVID. So I guess they have one now, or I just never seen it before, but we'll talk about the jeans. But again, you gotta go watch the yarn video for that. Anyway, so I'm just showing off stuff that I went on my shopping trip of I'm not going to spend any money on because it was cute and I'm excited, and yeah. So yeah, that's what basically has happened in this last week. I got some wins. For me, it was a lot of wins. I got some energy back. That's one of the biggest ones. Walked around, got some energy. I feel like I'm crawling out of that burnout pit again and getting myself back on track. So this week, we're going to get us a carrot. We're going to give it to the horse. We're going to give that horse lots of pets. And we're slowly going to get back in that saddle again. Gently, carefully, respectfully, so the horse doesn't decide to basically throw me into orbit. Yet again, it's a mean horse. So, let's get into the vitals, shall we? Yeah. So we're going to start with weight. Now with weight, I did promise before, I was like, we're just going to pretend 13 and 14 didn't happen. But the weight's been fun. So I'm like, this one and only vital, I'm just going to do all 3 weeks. Why? Because I can. My body, I swear, likes to mess with me. I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with me just kind of eating whatever I wanted and not really exercising. But yeah. No. Last 3 weeks have been like a ping pong match. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time. Oh, sorry. I've had like multiple months. I think there was 3 months in a row where I was literally just going back and forth between this 10-pound margin. And now at the time I was exercising and I was like, I don't understand what's going on. I'm doing everything I can. Your body just does that sometimes. I mean, it didn't really help. I wasn't really doing too much. And to be perfectly honest, whenever I seem to, and it could just be me in my mind, and it probably is, whenever it seems like I'm going to hit a milestone that I'm excited about, now I'm still over to, I mean, right now my biggest milestone, that's my big goal, has been this is because you make small goals. This is my big goal, was I was going to reach 200 pounds. That's my big goal. I'm not there yet, but the thing is that reaching those teens, I haven't, again, I'm at the point now where I'm like, I haven't seen this in 20 years. I haven't seen this in 20 years. When I hit them teens, same thing when I hit the 20s. So, but whenever I hit those milestones that I start to get super excited about, I swear my body goes, we're going to make you wait. We're going to make you wait. So, for this one, we're going to do 3 weeks of the weight. I knew I was going to gain some. I'm not upset. But sometimes I look back and go, this is what happened. Week 13 actually started off really, really good, like suspiciously good. I had dropped from 224.4 on the 26th down to 220.6 on the 27th. I had lost 3.8 pounds overnight, basically. And yes, my body does that sometimes. Yes, your body will probably do that sometimes. And then it just kind of hovered there for a few days, just kind of barely moving. Makes sense. I said, it happens. And then a little up, and then it went a little down. It didn't do anything dramatic. And by the end of week 13, I was at 222.2, which was still 2.2 pounds down from the week before. So I was happy. Week 14 hit. My body went, you remember that feeling good? We're not going to do that this week. And on the 4th, I did miss my weigh in, which is fine. I was too excited to go out and do things with my friends and stuff like that. But on the 5th, it did jump to 224.8, which means it went up 2.6 pounds. And then just ping-ponged all week long. It went down to 222.8, down again 221.5, back up to 223.7, and finished at 224.6. So basically, I had gained 2.4 pounds from week 13. Awesome. Gained some. I hit week 15. Now, this is my last week. And it's like, okay, we're going to calm down, but just a little bit. So, okay, fine. Start out 224.4. I dipped back into those 222s. That made me happy. And then there's a cat. Sorry. So again, back to those 222s. I was happy. And then it shot back up to 225.5 by Friday. So basically from the week before, I gained 0.9 pounds. Overall, since we did do all 3 weeks, from week 12 to week 15, I did gain 1.1 pounds. Considering I wasn't exercising, I was eating kind of whatever I wanted. I wasn't even trying to maintain. It's not that bad. So, whatever. It's cool. And even with all this bouncing around from the start, I am still down to 70.1 pounds lost since April 2025. So, the last 3 weeks were basically our weight roller coaster. Up, down, ping pong, ping pong. Classic me, classic my body, classic you're almost to your teens again, so we're going to make you wait. Yeah. Hey, I knew I was going to gain some. Not upset. It's what happened. See what happens next week. So, let's see here. Next is the blood pressure. That actually looked encouragingly good overall. Tuesday morning was a little bit high. It was at 135/87. But after that, things kind of settled down. Every morning from Wednesday through Friday, I landed in that 103 to 107, what's called the systolic range, Kitsune, which is more comfortable for me than what it had been looking at, because that 135 was kind of what my mornings were looking like for a while there, and now it's kind of just, so I'm like, okay, cool. The afternoon and evenings were pretty steady. When I averaged everything out, my overall weekly blood pressure came out to about 99/59. Mornings averaging 113/69. The afternoon and evenings right around that 91 to 92/60. So, really not bad. There were a few dips, nothing dramatic. And it's just kind of that usual, my medications are doing their job, but they're doing it just a little too enthusiastically. Had a few of those. Like Tuesday morning, or evening, dropped to 82/57. Friday afternoon was 85/56. Couple others around that 90 to 60 line. So my blood pressure meds tend to be the strongest later in the day, apparently. It's probably because I also do a lot of exercising and stuff. That's usually when I'm moving around more. So that pattern of the higher mornings and the softer afternoon evenings, they can kind of track. Still something I want to keep an eye on. We spoke about this before. If I ever get dizziness, the lightheadedness, that weird drained feeling alongside those numbers like those. And just let you know, I was tracking, just not as often throughout those 2 weeks I wasn't talking about, and they were kind of at the same. So that it was burnout. That's what it was. Not this, but it's just something to, if that starts happening, then a little bit sooner. But other than that, for now, I'm good. I have a appointment in October. Bring it up to my doctor, let them know what's going on. Just kind of a flag here for later, unless something happens to where I should look at it now, kind of thing. So, but anyway, overall, it's been a solid week. Got some good data. Definitely something worth bringing up to my care team later. So speaking of that, let's go on to the heart rate. This is a little bit interesting and a little bit encouraging once you look how things shifted over the days. So Tuesday was definitely rough to start, same as it was with blood pressure. I had readings sitting the entire day in basically the 100s. That 102 is kind of in that more elevated territory. since anything above 100 is considered outside normal resting range. But from Wednesday forward, things started to calm down, which was good. Um, Tuesday, the Thursday and Friday mornings, they dropped to the mid upper 90s, which is good. Evenings coming in the base of the 80s, 85, 78, 87. So averaging all those, I got about 95 average. Mornings at 97, afternoons 99, evenings 88. Downward evening trend is actually a really, really good sign, showing my body is starting to wind down as well as the day goes on. Heart rate meds work best with consistency, and the gradual improvement through the week really reflects on that. But where the numbers still are sitting in the higher end of normal, but it has been like that's actually, it's been going down, but it's okay. Just again, something to make sure I just keep track of, bring up to my care team my next appointment, or again, if it's something that happens more often than it should, or I start feeling things that I shouldn't, bring up to the care team, but nothing alarming. I'll bring it up to the next appointment. We're all good. Oh, okay, next we're going to go over glucose. Definitely a work in progress. So this week I decided, because the last time I had done like a video, we're not talking about the last video I posted of just me, but the one with the three, my last pause, we had talked about I was using what I named Vital NACO. I have CoNACO is my co-pilot I use for a lot of the things I do, and then Vital NACO is the new beta of like the where you can actually like have it log into your certain health data and stuff like that. It doesn't have a lot right now, and it's fighting with Google Health. I need that because Google Health sucks. Anyway, I hate it. But make more sense of it. So right now I'm just kind of whatever. But that means I was like, oh wait, I can plug in the data I get for the week and let's see what it says. So it had said something about the one meal because it was like not too far after a meal and stuff like that. And I was like, that is something I'm technically supposed to be doing, but I gotta prick my fingers because I don't do well with CGMs. If you do, I am extremely jealous. I had a CGM for a while, but I knocked it off of like everything, and it hurts when you knock it off. So I gave up and I prick my poor little fingers right now. There's little pinpricks all over them. You probably can't see them, but whatever. But so before I was like, when I was still kind of like, pricking my fingers scared me because anything with needles scare me. I have tattoos, but whatever. But I'm now more comfortable. I've been doing it quite some time now. So I was like, you know what? I'm supposed to be checking before and after meals. So I decided to start doing that this week, just to at least try and get some data out of it. And did I do every single reading? No, because I would forget. I mean, I would actually set an alarm for after a meal, and I'd hear the alarm go off, but I was busy doing something else, so I didn't do it. But I did get a few, and I'm getting better at it. Something new. Sometimes you're going to miss some, or whatever. So I decided to try something new this week, and I don't know if you can see that. There's a lot of gaps, but we're getting there. But I still, at least with the gaps, even with them, got a helpful picture so far. So my fasting readings, really solid. They're landing between 85 to 109, and the morning averages to 95. So these are before, and then of course the before meal numbers, which are technically like fasting numbers, whatever, pretty steady again, averaging 103 across the week. So then there's the after meal readings. These are the ones that are kind of newer to me to what I actually do. I didn't get a lot of them, but at least so far, we've averaged to about 125 for after meals. There were some spicy little spikes here, like 143 on Thursday and about 140 on Friday. After dinner, those jumps are just worth kind of keeping an eye on. They show how different meals hit me. And to be perfectly honest, if after a meal, even though I guess I try to do it 2 hours after the meal. This is a lot different than last year, where before a meal, 140 was a good reading. And then after a meal, I would usually shoot to around 300. I mean, so, because back then I wasn't really paying attention. I just tested at certain times. But, yeah, I mean, I'm personally happy with those numbers. Still keeping an eye on it because we still want to, we're still working. We're still taking those medications. We're still doing the things, plus whatever. But at least I'm starting to see a little more, okay, what's going on here for after meals, stuff like that. And then my bedtime readings usually average about 116. That overall weekly average was 104. Honestly, not bad at all for the first week of trying a new tracking style. So next week, hopefully, I'm going to keep doing better at it. We'll fill in that picture a little bit more. So, and even partial days help give you some sort of picture of what's going on. So, I'm going to call this as a solid start. We're good. We're good. Okay, let's see. Okay. So next, we're going to talk about sleep. Yeah. Now, much as I'm still hating on Google Health, and believe me, I am. It's the thing. It does look like there was some sort of update that I just noticed when I was putting these things where it can actually let me see my multiple sleeps, where before I was like, I know I took a nap that day. Is it counting that nap? Isn't it? I can't tell. Now there's a little cool little thing where you're like, okay, pick this sleep or this sleep, and you can actually see the thing. So that's kind of new, from what I've noticed. And it even gives me a thing at the top where it says your total sleep. I was like, cool. Progress. Here's the only thing. It also claims that apparently I had some 15-minute naps in there that I absolutely did not take. I will take what I can for now, though. So at least it's looking a little bit better. I'm just going to do the simple graphy stuff for now until I figure out the newest updates and stuff like that. But whatever. Now I do want to let you know, for everybody looking at the chart, and everybody's like, you're like, I thought last weekend you were dead. Didn't you tell us that? That does not mean that I slept last weekend. What that means is my brain clocked out while I watched YouTube, Criminal Minds, and disassociated with the world. That's a big difference. No sleep, just other stuff. But anyway, here's the actual sleep snapshot of the week, excluding Wednesday, because I forgot to put my watch back on before I went to bed, because I have to charge it every night because of the new thing, because it kills my battery. Anyway, so sleep this week, mixed bag. When is it not? Weekly average came in at 7 hours and 24 minutes. Lands nicely in the recommended 7 to 9 hours for adults. However, just to let you know, Monday was doing the heavy lifting on that. I did get almost 10 and a half hours of sleep that day. I think that day was also a nap. Likely reflecting that catch-up rest, because I really, really needed it. But outside of Monday, most nights hovered in the 6-hour range. Tuesday was 6 hours, 21 minutes. Thursday, 5 hours, 44 minutes. Saturday and Sunday were both about 6.5 hours. And then Friday, about almost 7. So consistently, I'm actually getting close to that 7 to 8 hour sweet spot on the weeknights. And, still working towards that. Still looking at it. Sleep quality. It can have a real effect on everything else being tracked, which includes your blood pressure, your heart rate, your glucose. I also gotta look into that DEFP, whatever we're gonna remind me. We'll do that on a later date. I'll bring that to my doctor too, just to see what he says about it. So sleep not that bad, especially for what information I could get out of it. Hopefully it's just gonna keep getting better. I don't know why they changed everything, but I do know why. But that's a whole different how my mind works and stuff that y'all don't want to hear. Just saying. Anyway, next, go on to my steps. I'm actually really, really proud of my steps this week. And it's not that, I've had higher steps. You've seen them. It's just that this week I actually did a walk every weekday night. So I'm actually pretty proud of them. Monday I started out at 6,307. And then Tuesday hit... why can you always tell by my steps? It's my steps, my sleep, stuff like that. You can always tell which days did I have off. I had Monday off for various reasons. This day I slept the most. Anyways, Tuesday hit, it was like my legs just finally woke up. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all between, almost 9,200 to almost 10,000 steps, flirting with that 10,000 mark, almost there. Friday I was a little, 8,294, and it wrapped up a really nice solid week. For the work week alone, so Monday through Friday, I walked a total of 43,540 steps, averaging 8,708 a day. So that's comfortably in that 7 to 8K range. Everyone keeps saying is the sweet spot. And even my usual lazy weekend energy, so including my weekends that we all know I don't do much, the full week still totaled out to 57,232 steps, which still has an average of 8,176. Saturday and Sunday were quieter. They didn't drag into the weekdays. We all know I don't do much on Saturday and Sunday. And then the midweek just consistently carried everything beautifully. And like I said, I'm really proud of those days and how they went out. It wasn't luck, it was just me sticking to my routine. So I'm very happy with it. Next we'll talk about water. Like I said, you can tell by my tracking which days I have off because I cannot seem to track on days that I have off. I don't know why. I just can't. It's like, okay, these are days I can spend in bed. I'm not going to track what I'm doing. It's okay. So it only happened Tuesday through Friday this week. Yes, I had Monday off. But the numbers I did get were pretty solid. Tuesday and Wednesday, 80 ounces. Friday matched that. Thursday, I actually got 96 ounces. I did a little bit overachiever, which is actually good because it clears apparently. And I just, I've been looking at stuff. And it's like, between this and like at least 64 to 80 ounces. And I was trying to hit that. And then I'm talking, it's like, no, for women, your target is actually 91 ounces. So yeah, I'm like, great, because hitting those 80 ounces, even though I know I'm drinking more than 80 ounces when I do those, because again, I only track what I finish. So this is 40 ounces. When it's finished, I track 40. If I got down to here, I don't track it. But yeah, it still seems like hitting the 80 is sometimes a whole job. And I'm like, really? 91? Okay. That's cool. We'll try it, though. Now that I know, I'm going to try and hit it, because that's just the way I work. But anyways, across those 4 track days, it average came out to about 84 ounces a day. It's in a good neighborhood, so we're good. Hydration is one of those quiet little things that props everything else up. Your blood pressure, energy, even your glucose regulation. So having those midweek numbers look really steady feels like a win that I can claim. And just let you know, water, like I said, we'll talk about water, your hair, your skin, stuff like that. I mean, my hair is definitely thicker. It's good. Speaking of water, I'm thirsty. Good Lord. Believe it or not, more you drink water, the more you like it. I don't know why. Well, at least me. I don't know. Next, we'll talk about the whole deficit thing that I keep trying. I forget which movie it was. With Jim Carrey, he's like, loathe, and that Jim Carrey voice that he does. That's what's going through my head because I am loathing Google Health and MyFitnessPal right now on a deep, just very deep, spiritual level, on a cellular level. I hate them. So, I tried again to track my food on Google Health this week and immediately went, no, absolutely not. I don't understand what happened with it. Just no. It was stupid. Now, MyFitnessPal, I don't actually hate MyFitnessPal. It's actually a pretty good little tracker for food. So there's nothing against that whenever I say that. But the things, I miss the old Fitbit app where you could just track everything and it was all in one place and it all made sense and your deficit was actually there. Now, the new one, because of it, I am stuck juggling between 2 apps which say they're talking to each other, but they're not. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like they're exchanging these numbers and it's being passed through a blender. And Google Health pulls some of the data from MyFitnessPal. But it's just a number. It's not even like, this is what it just puts a little number in there and you're like, does this even match? And sometimes it actually doesn't. Just this random number. Then MyFitnessPal is where it's like trying to tell you like how much energy you burn. It pulls data from the Google Health, except whatever numbers it's getting matches nothing that I see on either screen. And I'm just like, what? So the calories out number in Google Health, which also used to be in that place where you track the calories, now it's a whole different part of the Google Health. I can't even tell if they're real anymore or if the app is just rolling dice behind the scenes. I don't know. Anyway, chaos aside, I'm going to put down at least what I got from these two apps, and I guess it's going to have to be good enough. So, food and calorie tracking happened Tuesday through Friday again, but that's okay. Honestly, though, the effort is there. So 3 out of 4 days tracked, and they landed in a good deficit. Tuesday, I was in a deficit of 492. Thursday, 374. Friday, 733. Wednesday, I did have a little bit of a surplus of 119, and my body just basically said, I needed that, thank you. Yeah, sometimes you get hungry. No, and Wednesdays are usually the day I get hungrier. I think it's because I take my major medications on Thursday, which is fine. But across the days, I had an average net deficit that came out to 370, which is pretty reasonable, sustainable range. Enough to keep things moving without going extreme. And like I said, I kind of still ate the same as I normally do on a normal basis. I just didn't work out as much, so I didn't burn as many calories, and that's okay. My calories in were the lowest on Friday of 1,815, and that's also why that deficit jumped to kind of high when the rest of them weren't as whatever. Just trying to keep tracking more consistent, assuming that Google Health is behaving. I don't know. We're just gonna say whatever, and I'm gonna give up. Gonna keep trying. Just anyway. Last but not least, we're gonna talk about the measurements. Yeah, they painted a picture. The scale doesn't. Just let you know, this is why you do measurements. You don't always see this on the scale. From week 12 to week 15, because I did not do any measurements between those weeks. And yeah, I thought about it last week and went, mm-mm. Yeah. Anyways, the net change did come out to a very subtle, I lost 0.5 inches in the overall on the net change. Quite a quiet shift. Totally normal. It's part of how the real bodies work. Progress isn't always loud. It doesn't need to be. But zoom out from that. And this is where I get all excited. So the week to week, I'm like, okay, cool. But when I look at the overall from that baseline, from whenever I took that baseline, whenever I took my very first measurements for each spot, I have lost a total of 26.75 inches overall. And that is not small. That is not accidental. It's consistent, meaningful change. My biggest drops land exactly where long-term health and mobility benefit most. And these are usually your chest, your waist, and your hips. In my bust, my chest, I've lost 6.5 pounds. My waist, I've lost 6.25. And my hips, my hips, I've lost 6 inches. And they're not just numbers, they're indicators of real shifts in my body composition. The kind that matter beyond the aesthetics. Now my calves, from the baseline, I've lost 2 inches in both calves per calf. My thighs, my left thigh, I lost actually about 2.75 inches since the very beginning. My right arm did go up about 5.5 inches since the very beginning, and that could be actually just added on muscle. In fact, now that's the whole thing when they say, "Oh, muscle weighs more than," we went through this whole thing. Muscle weighs more than fat. No, it doesn't. But muscle can sometimes take up more room than fat in certain areas, like your arm. So you might have more fat, but as you tone it, it's hard to explain. We'll talk about toning in a different yarn. I think I had said I might be doing that. But yeah, that's a thing. I'm not getting into it now because I don't fully understand it, because I don't usually understand it till the yarn. We're actually picking it apart together, people. Okay? But anyways, week 15 isn't my finish line, though. It's just a checkpoint. Trajectory for the baseline says everything. So, overall, last 3 weeks, basically just one long conversation between me and my body and gravity, and none of them saying they could agree on anything. Everything bounced. The weight did, the blood pressure did, the heart rate, the glucose, the sleep. But we all know that is me. I like to bounce around a lot. I like to keep the chaos. We like to shift the pattern. But, as you look around things in overall, the pattern has shifted for the better for all of them. I mean, nothing about these weeks were smooth. Nothing about them were linear. But the data does show that my body is still moving. Still adapting. Still responding. Even when my routine wasn't exactly textbook at the time. My scale did its usual dramatic response in nonsense. It dropped fast, it jumped back up, it hovered, it dipped, climbed again. And then even with all that, the overall change across 3 weeks was tiny. I didn't gain that much. The long-term trend is still holding strong. I'm still down over 70 pounds since last year. The rest of the numbers follow the same theme. Blood pressure settled nicely after a high start. Heart rate calmed down as the week went on. Glucose were solid for my very first attempt at trying to keep up with before and after meal tracking. Sleep averaged to a fine. It averaged out fine despite the occasional accidental coma in there. Steps were generally impressive midweek. And in my hydration, I only tracked a few days, but they all landed in a good range. Measurements tied the whole story together. Week to week change was small. Baseline comparisons still showed I've lost nearly 27 inches overall. That's the kind of shift you only get from long-term consistency, even when the day-to-day looks messy. A little chaotic, a little stubborn, a little encouraging, and very much the way my body tends to behave. Not perfect, not disastrous, just real progress happening to everything underneath the noise. I'm sorry, excuse me. So, to end off this, what's becoming now a long video because I like to talk a lot, is, of course, the stuff we're going to talk about for next week. It's basically going to just be me trying to slide back into my normal weekday groove, little by little, without my brain throwing a tantrum. Again, the plan, in theory, is to start rebuilding my nightly routine this week, continue to do what I'm doing, add back in that hinge health playlist, maybe add in those couple of arm and weight exercises, nothing dramatic, nothing extreme, just easing myself back into the habits that made me feel like I was an actual functioning mammal. Work is work, so the challenge this week is just to survive another week without my brain melting into a little puddle on the floor. So I want to please spend my brain some strength, some caffeine, and maybe a small emotional support dinosaur. Okay? Now, content-wise, I think next week's yarn, I'm going to cover the GLP-1s, like the diabetes side of things, the weight loss side of things, the differences, the pros, the cons, the why does everyone on TV sound like they're reading a legal disclaimer at gunpoint side. Feels like a good time to tackle it. Now for Claw, I'm a little torn. I haven't made up my mind yet. I might do Call Me Chris. Maybe something movement-based, like Ingrid Kick or the Pilates video. I don't remember her name right now because she's new for me. I think maybe if I do one of those two, though, I might do Ingrid Kick to start out with a walking, because she's more of the walking focus before I dive into the Pilates one, because I am fairly sure that whoever program or designed Pilates should be jailed, even though I'm doing it anyway. But I think that the next week's call is going to be something kind of YouTube-y kind of thing. And no, I'm not going to do Mr. Ballin next week. I refuse to do Mr. Ballin in Claw until I have my flannel shirt. That is just a matter of principle. I have to have the flannel shirt. We're going to wear a flannel shirt before I do it. So anyways, I am extremely excited whenever I do Mr. He is probably my favorite YouTuber. So yeah, it kind of feels kind of blasphemous if I don't get that. And the other thing I'm thinking about, and I might start doing it this week, because I think you can backdate them too. Mainly because I can't keep up on these websites. I did week 1, and then I just can't. This takes up my entire weekend. I'm too busy trying to do stuff, so I have not been able to do the websites per week. So I think at least, so you can see the pictures bigger and stuff like that, I'm going to post the pictures in like weekly albums. And like I said, I think you can backdate them, so at least it goes back to like to correspond with the video on the Facebook page. That's just facebook.com/bloodlily. BLOODLILY 72. That's it. And if I can do all that, and if I have some time, we might do those so that way some of these you can see in a larger form so you can actually look at them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the vibe for next week. Just a gentle routine rebuilding, brain survival mode at work, and some fun ideas kind of brewing for the yarn and the claw and the Facebook. And we'll see how much of that actually happens, but the intention is there, and that's what counts. So, as always, sorry for a long video, but please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week to see what tiny bit of progress or naps we uncover together. Mystery included, vibes pending. See you next week.